Hi y'all, I'm Chris Evans, principal broker here at Simply List, and today in this video we're going to cover three things around wholesaling and listing properties that you are not yet the owner of and how the process works. So first and foremost is Georgia requires the written permission by the owner of the property to a broker who is going to advertise that property. So we have a third-party form that our investors and wholesalers can use to get the owner's written permission up front. If you're doing this, please contact us before you go under contract for a couple of reasons that I'm going to explain further in this video. The second point here is I want to talk about the difference between a power of attorney and our third-party form that we use here at Simply List. A power of attorney is a legal document, and we're not lawyers. But in the investment side of the world, a lot of wholesalers trying to build their business in an unregulated industry will take language from power of attorney contracts and put that into their own real estate forms. This can be a huge issue because contracts should only be drafted by attorneys. And a power of attorney, we learned this when we were starting out the company and starting to vet some documents with our counsel. A power of attorney needs to be wet signed and it needs to be notarized. So if we receive a copy of a power of attorney as the proof that this individual has the authority to advertise a property for sale, that document needs to have a notary stamp and it needs to have wet signatures. So it should be scanned. If somebody sends me a document that has e-signatures and no notary, that's a document that won't hold up in the state, and we can't use that as a basis for advertising a property. Our third-party form that Simply List puts out allows the owner of the property to sign it, and they give direct written permission to Simply List for us to be able to put the property on the MLS. Why is this important? This is the third point here. This is extremely important because, one, it's good for the consumer. The consumer knows that the person who is advertising the property has the authority to advertise that property and to negotiate on that property. If we've had issues in the past where a property would have become listed because they gave us paperwork that showed it, and then a seller calls us a few weeks later wanting to know why their property is on Zillow. Well, even if the language is in a contract, sometimes investors don't communicate clearly and transparently to the end consumer, who's the person selling their property to the investor. And in these situations, we have decided as a firm that we never want to be in that situation where a consumer is surprised that their home is for sale. So we have the forms available for investors. They can include it as part of their contract package when negotiating and putting forms out there if they want to list with Simply List, or they can go and get it signed afterwards, but we do need the direct written permission. Now, what happens if you're not wholesaling, but you are not the owner on the property or the owner that's on title? Well, sometimes that means the property might be owned by a corporation, or the property might be owned by an estate. And when you're filling out the property information sheet for Simply List and getting all of the documents together, it'll ask you if you are the person on title. And if you're not, it'll prompt you to upload a PDF document that shows us that you are the authorized person to handle this transaction. That might be letters of estate. It could be a corporate memorandum that gives you signing capacity for the LLC. It could be articles of incorporation. It could be a power of attorney. All of these documents are acceptable as long as they are completed correctly per the terms of Georgia and what our state requires. So if you have questions about listing a property and you're not on title today, feel free to reach out to our office, listings@simplylistatlanta.com, and we will answer any questions and provide you with the insight you need before you list.